Hey guys, OKC Cake Lady. I am back with part three of my series. So, I think a lot of you know that with the good comes the bad. So, let's talk about it. How did I become OKC Cake Lady? You've already heard a little bit about me, how I got started in the bakery. I know a lot of people always ask me about that. So, now you know how I got started, but how did I get to this point? Well, I left the bakery that I was at. There was some drama and things that were out of my control, and it just didn't feel the same. I was happy making the cakes. I don't know if you've been at a job like this. I was happy making the cakes, but it was the people, and I don't mean the clients. It was some of the people that I was working with that made it very, very difficult to enjoy the atmosphere. And because of that, that overruled the cakes, and I eventually quit. So when I quit, let me tell you that I was not happy quitting. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do because I never quit at a job before. Remember, I was only at this point maybe 22, I think, and I loved what I did. So I went from loving what I did, just so happy, to people that wanted to try to like bring me down. And I often reflect on that. I think it was just simply because I was happy and seeing other people happy at work, maybe somebody younger, maybe they didn't feel that at their what they did, or maybe they didn't get the attention that I received. And I say that because I did have a lot of people come up to me that requested me to make their cakes, and I think it did bother some people. But I didn't have any control over that. I was just doing what I love, and if people wanted me to make their cakes, well, I was going to do it. So, anyways, unfortunately, I did leave, and I worked at another place, and it. Let me tell you, there were not colors where I worked. So I didn't have my pinks, my lime greens, my blues. I'm working around, well, let me just tell you, I was working around money, lots of money. And, or let me just say, I was working in banking. That's easier. I don't want you guys to think it was anything illegal. I was working in banking. And yeah, I liked it. It was cool, but it wasn't the cakes. Remember, I loved what I was doing. After 2 years at this place, I realized it's not for me. So what did I do? Well, I found another grocery store and I applied there, and they did take me into that bakery, and I started working there. I think like the next day. The next day. Now I am back at my happy place, y'all. I can't tell you the feeling, like cloud nine, like sun glistening on my face is what I felt like, just glitter everywhere. I was so happy. I am working. I am just content in what I do. Now, everything was good for about 3 years. I had, new friends in the bakery. Everybody was getting along. It was really awesome. And I made some really awesome connections because of people that I've met there, friends. I knew going into this bakery, I already had it in my mind that I was not going to be there more than, I think, 3 years. I think that was my max. I said, I'm not going to be there more than 3 years. I want to start my own business. So when you want to start your own business and you get that in your mind, it sticks with you. And I said, this is it. I'm just going to do this to try to build clientele. And whenever I say build clientele, I don't mean off working at the grocery store. I was going to go ahead and start taking cake orders at home from friends, family, using social media, which I had never tried to do. So I created my business name at that time, and I'll talk about that. I created my business name, and I was like, I like this name. This is going to be it. And I started taking cake orders, like I said, friends, family, and I was making the cakes so, so cheap because, again, what was my goal? Build my clientele. So I was building my clientele. Not one time did I ever accept an order from the grocery store. Although I did have people ask me, do you do this at home? Can I have your information? I told them no. Anytime I work somewhere, I'm very big on like following the rules and respecting another business. That's not my business. They brought me on to work for them, not to pull customers from them. It's not fair. And that's not what I did. Never did I do that. Now, back to the grocery store. So I'm working there. I'm content Because remember, at this time, I'm making cakes at home too. Now, when I say this, I'm only doing it part time, not full time, nothing super serious, although I'm trying to get there. Okay, so I did it 2 days out of the week pretty much, just took a couple orders a week. I'm in the bakery, I'm working, and of course, here we go, drama, drama. And I'm just thinking to myself, not this again. When the drama happened previously at the other place, it wore me out mentally. Mentally, I was clenching my teeth at nighttime. I'd come home, my mom's like, your face is so red, I'm scared you're going to have a stroke. So when I tell you that that place, it stressed me out, the previous bakery, to even have a glimpse of drama at this new one, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. And sadly, I won't say the name of this business either. I will say that it's one of our bigger grocery stores here in Oklahoma and not Walmart. I never worked for Walmart. Nothing against them, but and it's not Homeland. So working there, everybody management had been very, very nice to me. The store owner or part owner of this grocery store, and my direct manager, and then the store director, very, very kind. So if they watch this, thank you guys so much. I looked up to them. They were very kind. Unfortunately, there's always one in the bunch. That's what I feel like. And again, I feel like it was due to attention that I received from some of the higher ups. I think they saw my potential, and I think they had a lot of respect for me coming in and working the way I did. I always tried to be diligent and quick about my work and just really, really do it well. Never had any customer complaints from this bakery or the other one. So I just want to throw that out there. I was always big on respecting my managers, respecting the other employees, and definitely the customers. Because remember, I've worked in customer service, well, my entire life. So one day in the bakery, my friend and I, well, it's an old friend now, but a friend and I, we were in the bakery, and we did what we were supposed to do. I did what I was supposed to do, and I think she did too, but I was worried about myself. And I was a supervisor in the bakery. I was a lead, and I was leaving, and my friend was leaving as well. She was a cake decorator, and you know how you just remember certain things; they just stick in your head, like every little detail. Anyway, we were walking around the bakery, leaving, and I hear this person say, "Who told you that y'all could leave?" And I looked over and I said, "I had permission from," just say the person's, I'm not going to say the person's name, from my manager. And then this person responded, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to, well, my friend." Now, granted, she said y'all, and I was like, well, my thought was she just said y'all, but whatever. It's the end of my shift. Like, I just said, okay, whatever. Super rude, yelling across the bakery in front of other customers. It was just bad. So I went on and left because she wasn't talking to me. So I leave, and I knew that next morning, I just knew. I was like, there's going to be something. There's going to be something. So my friend and I, we clock in at the same time. So we had walked in, walked around to go put our stuff up underneath the counter, and that's as far as I got before I was intercepted by by the person, and who was a manager. And I was just kind of like, here we go. And I just knew. And they were like, "I want to speak to you about yesterday." And I was thinking, well, I was good to leave, but okay. So they said their piece. And then I said, well, I had permission to leave. And whenever I asked, you said you weren't talking to me. And they said, well, I was talking to both of you guys, and I don't appreciate you guys leaving without letting a manager know. I was like, well, I let my manager know, my direct manager know. Like, you just know better than just to leave. Um, and so the conversation, whatever, it was just one of those conversations. It didn't really, they said their piece of, I guess, let a manager know, but I was like, I did. So I decided to say, well, I would like to say something too. And this had been something that's been going on for a long time between this person and other employees. I said, can you please speak to me with a little bit more respect, or just be a little bit more respectful? I said, because I don't speak to you in such a rude way. And they responded and said, I can talk to you however I want to. you work at this place. Now, in that moment, I just thought, what? Well, that's what came out of my mouth. I said, you can't talk to me how you want to, regardless of you can't talk to me how I want to, regardless of where I work. I don't speak to you that way. And then they responded with, you know what? You're done. You can go home for the day. Now, granted, I don't think I smiled in that moment because it wasn't funny to me, but I did know that I was making cakes at home. So I think I just kind of said, okay. Now, that's probably not the response that they wanted because what they wanted was for me to be extremely angry, right? Well, I wasn't angry, like, okay, if you want me to go home, I'll go home. So as I grab my stuff, walk past the doors, I hear, you know what? Don't come back. In this moment now, that got me because I'm like, how did we go from go home for the day for nothing, in my opinion, to don't come back? Well, I went up to management, spoke with one of the higher ups that was higher than this person's position, and he said he understood what happened. And he's like, I can see where you're coming from with this. Let me go speak to the person. I said, okay. So he was gone for about, I don't know, I feel like about 8 minutes and came back and said, the person said, you're already replaced. Now, this was about, oh my gosh, I think 7 in the morning. So I'll say about 7:30. We'll say the discussion took place for about 30 minutes, everything. And I was already replaced. So all I said in that moment, I've never been fired from anywhere. All I could say was, okay, thank you. Now at this point, fear took over me like no other. Okay, because I have bills. I have a vehicle I was paying for. I'm still pretty young. Like, I have a vehicle I'm paying for. I had worked hard for these people at this company. I had never been in trouble. They respected me, except this one person who I feel like just has it out for certain people at times. So I told the HR person, I just said, thank you for, I remember just trying to speak to her. I just said, thank you for everything. And she was just kind of in shock, like, I am so sorry. I was just like, it's okay. That was it. Literally, I said, it's okay. But I could see it. I could hear it in her voice. Like, this isn't right. So I got in my vehicle. I text my friend. I was like, they just fired me. And she's like, what? Well, from there until about, gosh, I say the next couple of days, I was just getting messages from employees. They were just like, how did you get fired? How is that possible? You don't do anything. Like, you don't do anything wrong. How is this? I'm so mad. I'm just like, guys, I don't know. Um, Now, when I talk about how one door closes and another one opens, this is exactly what I mean. Join me for part 3 as I tell you the next things that happen along this journey of how I became OKC Cake Lady.